Transformers reviews, tech and the news, whatever else I use as a muse. Hit subscribe, I appreciate the views. Influences interest on YouTube. What's going on, people? This is Influence, back with another Throwback Thursday, and this is just another thrilling 30s. They just made all types of great figures during the thrilling 30s era. Now, this is debatable whether this figure is great. And yes, I did this figure before when I was trying to start the Flashback Fridays series, but it didn't get much traction because I probably had like 10 subscribers then. So I figured I would do it again just because it did. This was probably, I think I bought this on a whim. I think this is one of the really first figures. There's a couple other figures that are like my first figures bought, but I think this is like one of the first figures I bought kind of for myself. I was still in the stage like, I'm not really collecting. But I see a cool figure that I am kind of connected to because I love the Headmasters. And so I kind of sort of probably made the excuse that I was buying it for my son, but I bought it for myself. And I think that's how I came to get this and why it's in such good shape now, because my son probably never touched it. Just to be real about it. This was a great figure to me, though. And one of the reasons some people say it's not the greatest figure is because of how simple it is. But I think simple sometimes is good. I mean, you can see his arms, you see his legs hanging out, his feet. Well, if you know they're his feet, kind of, you know that they're at the end of his legs, so they must be his feet. You got thrusters back here. This is the port for the Headmaster. And it had a nice little gimmick, too, as far as not even just the Headmaster, but, yeah, you had these feet back here. And these arms just, like, really tucked in and pegged in. But it had good ratchets. It had good everything. I think the robot mode is great. So let's just examine it a little bit. As you know, I don't super review these, just like a normal review of a new product. But you had this little landing gear thing here that supported the front, and these support the rest of it along with his feet. So that was cool. You had these guns that doubled as his guns that you could take off or put on his back. And I'll show that more in robot mode. These things moved down for transformation, but they can move in like this as well, if you like that look, or straight up and down. I usually just have them however. These move, they can go up, so you can kind of have like I think a TIE fighter. I'm not a super, I'm a Star Wars fan, but not a super Star Wars fan, so I don't know if that's what it's called. I can't remember. I know for Star Wars fans, it's probably blasphemy, but it kind of gave me the feels of a Star Wars vehicle. So that's about it. Then you had this gimmick here. You can see he doesn't have his feet is up there, but he doesn't have any anything going on. But it's cool that he can sit in. And let's talk about the Headmaster. The Headmaster was pretty dope. It's better than the Headmasters now, even. So if you can see, the only thing I ain't like was his arms. Like if they would have split this right here and had it so it could move. Okay, let's move him a little bit because I'm getting out of focus. But you can see Headmaster's super small. But you can see his face even has like an expression on his face, like a little smirk. I think that's on purpose. Or maybe it was just so small they was just like, let me just put a slit in there for his mouth. His feet are kind of separated, but they don't come apart. His arms move up and down. That's about it. And his head is on a ball joint, so it moves all the way around. His little spot, and there's a gimmick when you put him in that I will show later. So let's move him to the side, and we can get to transforming this guy, which is nothing. Again, it was pretty simple. Take off these. I'm not gonna do like step by step just because it's It's not like a super review. There's a peg right here, pegs on each side. Pull them out. You can see the pegs. It's pretty long. Pull them out. Then you have the legs. The legs are pegged in back here. 2 pegs. Pull them down. You see the pegs. They go into his back right here. So then you want to get these side skirts. To eventually be side skirts. Move his legs out like this. So then you can move his tail. Or the nose cone, I should say. There's a little tab there where it goes. Tab that in there like that. Then you can finish his legs. Move them down. As you can hear, the ratchets are crazy tight. Crazy tight ratchets. Lift this up. Put his feet down. His feet were pretty big. I don't know. That's just a second character that had super big feet. And you have his lower body done. Then you want to get up here. Basically, you just spin that around, pull that down, get it anatomically correct to the elbow bend, and you flip these out. And see, stuff like this is thrilling 30s. So they did stuff like this where they had the actual cover for their arms. Now they seem to be cheaping out a little bit. And the cover doesn't do a great job, but it kind of reminiscent of, if you're familiar with Fans Project, like it's kind of that. It kind of feels like that, and that's a third-party company. So they were really doing their thing back in these days. So then same thing over here, of course. Get his arm out and get the elbow down. And now you have the upper body. So now you want to transform him. Not much to it. Just bend his legs up as usual. And I ain't mentioned the teal color is nice too. So then you have Brainstorm's face. Make sure this is right. Yeah, you want to get it kind of. Yeah, so I'll show it more. But he even had a gimmick. When you put his head in, the tech spec, this seat is going to flip down, and it's supposed to show the tech specs. I don't know if you put his head in like this. I usually put it in on this way. And there you go. You see the tech specs drop. It's far back. I wish it was up farther, but you can still see it. So it's still a little cool gimmick. Now you can see his head a little bit better. Let me put that down. Then you can arm him up. You can give him these, which they just fit his hands. Even though his hands are gripped like that, they're still basically 5mm ports. And there he is. He can hold his weapons. And that's pretty cool. Just for reference, let me bring a hot rod again. So you see Studio Series hot rod. That's how much he's a lot bigger than Studio Series hot rod. He's a pretty big bot. Not sure what he was. I'll probably put it on the screen. Can't remember if he was Deluxe Voyager or what back then, because you never know. So now they're just changing. They're not really changing the size. They're just changing the price point, but it's trying to coexist with the sizes. So that's another topic again. Yeah, so you see his face. He got eyes is painted yellow, which they look pretty good. Not bad. This is painted like a goldish. You see his head is pretty big. Got paint there. Silver breakup symbols on the wings. You can also pull these and put them on his back. He has red down here, silver, red, and the teal. The teal is really nice. I like that color. But then you can put these back here if you want to store them. Robot mode. And then it kind of looks, it looks like it's on his nose cone, but not as far up. Yeah, but his articulation wasn't bad either. He could get his shoulders out. They're on soft ratchets. He could get all the way around, which is just friction. He had a double jointed elbow that got everything. You can see his wrist just went in and out. His fingers are just like clamped. Head, of course, goes all the way around. Head is pretty loose, but I don't know if that's age. But then you could get the side to side. You can go down. You can go up about that much. I think it was a ball joint. His legs they're on friction, but he could do the hurdles. And then outways, they're on ratchets. I'm not sure why, but because then you got to get this out the way. You can't get these skirts out the way, but that much. So there's that. Put this back. They're like really tight too. Then he has a knee that gets you 90. And then his feet went down about that far, went up about that far, and they had a rocker. So you can rock it that way, or you can rock it that way. And yeah, just the feet. The whole foot is on like this ball rocker thing. It's kind of like a mushroom peg here, and just gives it the rock. But yeah, that's it. That's the Thrilling 30s Brainstorm. And he was a pretty dope, still is, robot. Like, get him in a better pose. Get one of his guns out. Pull his gun out his back. Then he can have the fist over here. So, I suck at posing. Get these leg skirts. The leg skirts are out. They look kind of funny. But yeah, there you go. He's got the pigeon toes going on. I think that's pigeon toe. But yeah, so that's this Throwback Thursdays, the Thrilling 30s Brainstorm Headmaster, which I have an affinity for because of how I obtained him, and also just because I just think it's a good buy. It's a great buy, especially for back then. All right, so this is Inflewence again, and I'm out.
Life ain't As long as you alive, you can give another try and take it real high if you want.